start, in behalf of everyone, I would like to express a lot of appreciation for Rabbi Tauber. It's the end of Yontif, and people are very busy. And thank you for being here tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Someone just asked me a shot. We'll talk about that too. What's his name? So. See, if a person, let me just first explain the kshal before I learn inside. If a person goes away for Pesach, and he'll be in the house that he goes away, Sunday night, many people go to hotels, many people go. So some, let's say, many Balbata in my community are going to the desert. They're leaving Ariantiv. So they have a Chiv B'dika the night before. But there are many who are going to leave earlier, going to Florida, the whole family, and who knows where. So, whole family going to Israel. So they are leaving this week. They're going to be in a house, Leil al-Bu'usar, where they have a chiv make a bedika. Some are going to be a hotel, some are going to be, so they don't have to make a bedika, because sell the whole apartment, not make a bedika. Okay, that's, there's only a chiv, the chiv bedika is, that means if you live in a house, you have to make a bedika, but it doesn't have to you make a bedika. With the rabbi was telling me that in yeshiva they taught his son to make a kinyan. But in truth is, when you were living at your wife doesn't make a bedika, because your husband makes a bedika for the whole house. Notice just like the wife lights the candles and makes the whole house. The same thing with bedika. So I'm living there. So whoever makes a bedika, I'm yotza. I have a key mitzvah in that. There's no din. Everyone has to make a bedika. There's no shalacha. And even if you don't have to own the place to make a bedika. Let's say someone says, use my house for 2 weeks. Someone says, use the house for 2 weeks. No problem. For free. It's the place you living. You have to make a bedika. Someone lives in a car. He has to make a bedika when he's living in the car. It's not, it's not a din, mine. In weddings, some of the people try to say to make a kinyan on the yichud room. I don't know if you know about it. In the yichud room, it doesn't have to be your room, a room that was designated for you. What happens if someone says, use my apartment for a week for free? It's not yours. This is designated. For that hour, the whole designated, this is going to be the room you could use for your kala. So that's a chnisa lebeisa. That then doesn't, you don't have to make a kinyan. The Chabad don't make a kinyan, huh? What? That's a checharov. This is a chumras which doesn't. What do you say? When they're off. So a person doesn't have to own a place.
You show up to a place on Monday morning.
If you show up, that means the night before you were someplace, you have to make a bedika. Let's say I have a family who's leaving to Etzor tomorrow. The whole family, 16 people can I know, going to a program at Etzor. So they are going to be in the hotel. So they make a bedika and I'll tell her to them. Now one told me, one of the family members says that he's going to spend time with his sister. And he's going to arrive to the place Erev Yantiv, so in your sister's home you'll be living. So her husband's going to make a bedika and you're yotze with his bedika.
Oh, so that's, if people are coming, let's say they'll be in a hotel Sunday night.
They have to make a bedika.
They're not going to be in that hotel for Pesach. They're just there.
You need a bedika too.
On their way.
Right, you need a bedika there too.
You do a bedika there?
You should make a bedika there, right? And they have to make a bedika when they come to a hotel. And I must tell you, when the Erev Yontif, they come to the hotel, you have to make a bedika. Plus, you must make a bedika also when you rent a car chalamoid. On chalamoid.
What does that mean? Make a bedika.
Make a bedika. Well, the Rav says that you don't. The Rav says you don't make a bracha. You have to make a bedika. I used to tell you, I once found a computer in a van, a rented van. We made a bedika. Showing a line. It's one of these 15 years ago. You had this small, I forgot what it's called, Game Boy. Yeah, you got it. A Game Boy. But I'm saying, but there's a chiv to bedika. They make a fast cleaning. It doesn't mean you're not going to find chametz there. You still find dirt. I mean, you rent a car, you see. So you have a chiv to make a bedika. So if you're going to come, you're going to a program, he's arriving out of Yantiv. So you're to a hotel, so you have to make a bedika on the hotel you arrive. Monday morning.
What's the point of doing it Thursday?
Well, some hold since, it's your house, but you have to make a bedika.
With the bracha on the morning?
And Monday morning you have to make it with a bracha. You're staying there, that's the place you're going to stay.
So,
So let's say he's flying, what's the Shabbos? If he's selling the house here, if you're selling, I don't know who he's selling, then you don't need a bedika here. But Monday, he's arriving there, he's going to be a hotel. The hotel is going to be a dwelling. No one made a bedika, just because the shiksa cleaned it, the shiksa cleans the houses here too. He has to make a bedika with a bracha.
by the time?
Whenever you arrive, as soon as you arrive.
So, but what if it's past the whole deal?
That's so what? Let's say a person forgot to make a bedika on a room, he has to make a bedika on Yontiv. Someone came to me and in the middle of Yontiv, he told me, he reminded himself he was not baiting his office. I says, Matzi Yontiv, you got to drive all the ways to your office and make a bedika.
My understanding was that if you wait until the day of, you don't make the bracha.
No, you do make a bracha.
And then Chol Moed, you make a bracha.
No.
That's what you hear, though.
So like we're driving someplace on Sunday. On Monday. So on Sunday night we make a bedika in our house, and then when we get to the room on
You have to make a bedika there too.
Monday we make a bedika, but no bracha.
Right, since you made that house. You going to someplace Monday?
Pleasant Springs,
Pa-
up Lake Arrowhead up there.
There's a program there.
Yeah.
So
There you don't make a bracha because
you made a bracha here. Once you make a bracha, you don't make a
So
bracha there.
once you make a bracha in one place,
Yeah. But he's leaving. If you make a bracha here now, but if you leave Motzei Shabbos, he anyways doesn't make a bracha. We never make a bracha only Leila Arba'asa. He's leaving Motzei Shabbos to France, so he's not going to make a bracha even if we leave from his house, because we only make a bracha the night before. So when he arrives in the hotel, he has to make a bracha because that hotel is
What is the bedika consist of? Just going around and checking?
going around. You take a flashlight and you look all over.
When you came and making a bedika in your house,
Because there's a chiyuv, chazal wa mechav, you leave your home. He didn't clean. You have to get rid of the chametz, unless he sells the chametz.
Is it better to use a flashlight than a candle?
For sure, better to use a
so
flashlight.
like I'm leaving my house, no one's staying there, and I'm selling my chametz.
No one is staying there. When are you leaving your house?
I'm leaving Monday morning.
Monday morning, you're leaving. So the night before, if you sold the house, no one's going to use the whole yontif. No one's coming
I'm
back.
selling all the chametz in my house.
Is someone going to use your house?
No,
Are you going to come into your house?
no.
So then you could be samich, sell the house, and you don't need a bedika. Some hold that way. One room, most Acharinim hold, since you're living in that place, and there's a chiyuv bedika, one room you should make a bedika.
Why not? You're not losing anything by doing it. You're getting a mitzvah. You're getting a mitzvah by not selling that room.
Where are you going, Shofar? To your parents?
I'm going to running springs.
So you have a chiyuv to make a bedika in that room you're coming to.
In the room that I'm going to be staying in.
Right,
In running springs.
right.
Okay, but I'm still not.
You have to make a bedika here because you're living in this house. So if there's a chiyuv leila arbusa to make a bedika, you're living there. There's a most achronim. It's a huge arichas achronim. The Chazal said you're living here. Yeah, we make a bedika. So you could do a thing, sell everything besides one room, and make a bedika that room, and then. There's tomorrow when you arrive in Onyx Springs, you make another bedika there. There you have to make a bedika. Nothing at all.
So, but back to the brachas. If I make a bracha
On the thing,
Sunday night,
you don't make a bracha
in
Monday.
one room,
You don't make a bracha Monday.
then we don't do it Monday.
But you have to sell the rooms. When you sell the chametz. If you don't want to make a bedika in the house, you should sell the.
So you sell the rooms.
They'll be saying beside the whole place, besides one room, you make a bedika.
Since we're selling here, our chametz in our house, and we're going out of town, do we need to leave our keys to the rabbi?
You have to speak to the rabbi. Shulchan says the shiksa should be able to have access to the chametz. You leave the key or tell them where the key is. Rabbi Heinemann in Baltimore does a very smart thing. He tells the guy, I want you to go Middle Pesach, choose a address, and go to the house and pick up the chametz. People should see it's real. Okay.
What about one other thing? What about like the feather in the food people use? Is that
The reason the feather was used, because in the good old days, the houses were full of cracks. Your wife will fire you before that leaves the cracks around. In the good old days, I don't know if you know, the houses were full of cracks. Didn't have like...
There's still cracks.
I don't think so. The shoe doesn't have any cracks in it.
so is it more like a mishigas?
Well, today we just do it. I don't even take a feather. It's just annoying and it just distracts me. What I do is, I light a candle and then I blow out the candle, I take a flashlight and I make a bedika. Because if you walk around with a candle, you're preoccupied with your candle if the house shouldn't burn down. Because we don't walk around with candles normally.
Right.
You know.
Also, another thing. What about this leaving, the leaving of the 10 pieces of challah, like by the Arizal?
That's a minhag. That's a nice minhag.
Yeah.
By the way, the Gemara mentions the 10 pieces. Whenever they want to speak about it, it's 10 and 9.
Yeah, the Gemara says, but that's a minhag. But yeah, that's a nice minhag.
But I mean, but the feather and all that's no minhag.
No. Okay, which one did you print over here? Which from?
Printed, I don't take responsibility.
Okay.
I'm looking at it for the first time. Topman Wov, Aleph through Zion.
Topman Wov. A second, that's the Topman Wov, Aleph through Zion. Okay. Let's. I want to explain why I chose these halachas. I first want to explain why people asked me last week over here, why is there minhag? Many don't sell real chametz. They get rid of real chametz. There's one simple reason is because the minhag that the rabbi sold the chametz, that started much later. Used to be everyone understood it himself. It was so many people don't do it correctly. I've seen that more than once. Sometimes even rabbis don't do it correctly. You know, but so Mamela, that's why many didn't want to sell the chametz. Another reason not to keep real chametz, which the Rav says, I want to explain this. Hamoitzi bepesach chatiches chumis shalamatza bebedika leili dalad. I want to tell you something. Every year I hear such stories, especially our small children. One year, maybe I said it last week, but one year a person came to me, walks into Shul Pesach, and I thought it was a terrible tragedy. He's white as a ghost. And it comes middle davening, charging in, and says, Rabbi, I picked up the pillow and there was cookies there. So I said, that's why you made bittul. What should I do? Just cover it. And he thought this is Hashem Yisur Kedosh Neni. And one person tells me, Yontif, they open the freezer, there's the bagels. And the Pesach digger freezer. Not the Chumash digger freezer, and the Pesach digger freezer. He has a canine harder. I don't know how. I remember asking him how many children now. Yeah, it does. Okay. You know, all you need is a 9-year-old child to did it something. You know, once you have many children. So he says like this. Chayev levara min oila miyad shirenu v'vurach hashishkun mitzaytzun al bir chumetz api shekvar bittel kol chemtze b'leil yidal mikom chayev levara b'v'sofrem. That's to get rid of it. Shema yishkach v'yachlenu. Now, many people ask me this. If they find it, it's not mine, it's the shiksa's. Chazal said you might still find it and eat it. You'll forget yourself. See, he made a bittel here. He made a normal bittel over here. When you say bittel, it's not mine, it's hefker. But the Chazal demanded if you find it to burn it, Chazal did not want to be soymich on bittel because he might come to eat it. Doesn't make a difference. I'll soon show you before the shalucha, the next shalucha is also that way. So Chazal said here, so your chametz, even though you sold it, I should ask you, now whose chametz is it? Oh, it's mine. Didn't you sell it? Oh, did I? Oh yeah, I sold it to the shiksa. You don't look at it, it's a shik. You look at it, it's your chametz. You might come eat it. That's why.
But if it's in a designated area and it's locked.
Well, if it's locked, well, that's why. That's the question. How much should the chumetz not be in the house? That is the question. That's why, many people are makbid to be. I try to tell people, put it in the garage and don't go into the garage. Or put it into the basement and seal the basement. I mean, it's not. I'm not going to go there. You're not going to go there. But if often people just, someone came to me today and he has booze worth $5,000. Tell him, you're not a Lubavitcher, I tell him. He goes, no Lubavitcher could accumulate $5,000 worth of it. Says, where do you keep it? He keeps it in a bar. I says, why don't you take it to you mean to say, these are boxes of, it's, my wife decorated the whole bar there, even he never drinks, but it's a who knows what. But I saw he's not going to listen. So I told him, you cover it with huge paper, cover it, and put it, and you have a simon that it's untouchable. In a fancy home, no one puts a huge piece of paper over the bar. So, but that's the question: how much does it have to be put away? You should be this thing. This is the question away. Anyways, the Rav says you have to make a brucha. So he explains why do you make a bracha. He made a bracha. He said, when we make a bracha, al bir chumetz, do you know that you make the bracha then, and you have a mind for burning the chumetz? But he says, he didn't finish. He explains that Rav, the bedika without beer is worthless. The bedika was made now to burn it. So the bedika is the beginning of the mitzvah, and tomorrow to burn it, he says. The Rav is mad over here. The one goes so led. He explains, because the big machlokes achronim. He holds that since you were yoytze the bracha with burning the chumetz by day, now mil yontev you find that's like a new chiyuv. Since it's a new chiyuv, you have to make a new bracha. The Rav, not everyone agrees, but the Rav holds you find chumetz b'Pesach, you have to make a bracha. I'm gonna go. No, Chazal said even though it's osios, you got to burn it if you find it. Chazal demanded. Doesn't make a difference. No, but the Chazal demanded you should burn it. So you have a chiyuv. You have. No, listen. You have a chiyuv to get rid of it. What do you think bedika is?
1 second. You have a chiyuv.
Well, let me explain to you. What is bedika? 1 second. No, but 1 second. It's Chazal word. I'm saying it's not mine. After bittul is also now. That's what he's asking. After bittul is not mine. But Chazal said, do not be soymech on bittul itself, even though you unvattel it. Why? Because people don't look at it. It's hefker. People don't look at it that way. So Mamela, the Chazal said, I want you to get rid of it. So when you sell something, even though it's not yours, you don't look at it in the middle. You might come to eat it. So you got to get rid of it if you find it in the Pesach.
So the guy who turned white, you told him to cover it, and then what? Tell him to burn it.
Burn it. What's the
That's
yontif?
better than flushing it in the toilet, let's say.
The minig is we don't. That's a big machlokes, and the minig is not to flush it down the toilet. We don't touch it till Matzah Pesach. You could. What's the first day?
Why not Yom Tov?
Yontif, we don't make a fire for that. That's the minig. Yeah, that's a big machlokes. The Rishonim. What? The Samach Chorenim hold. I forgot to look up the Rav Shitta, but the Mishnah brings down Samach Chorenim hold that you should tell the goy. But the minig is not that way, and the reason the minig is not that way because we're afraid that the guy is going to think kishiv. I think the Rav brings it down too. Yeah, yeah. The goyim always were busy with hocus pocus that we are doing kishiv, black magic.
So we cover it until.
Cover it till the night, and you burn it. We don't flush on Yontif. No, we burn it. Better to burn it.
You don't touch it. You don't touch it.
You don't touch it. You cover it.
What if the kids are going at it?
If they're going at it, then you
Can you grab it?
then you take it away. I mean, you don't want to make a whole a house of chametz. Okay, that's one halacha. I want to show you another halacha, which was Zayin. We said Zayin. Let's just see. if you have time, we'll go back to the other halachas, but I want to show you Zayin. No, Tuf Menvuv Zayin. Oh, Zayin. Tuf Menvuv, this Simon. He didn't print Zayin? He says, this halacha bothers me very much. I had today, was it today? On Friday? Someone came to me and he tells me that part of his problem of the chumetz is that he has partners going, and his business, they have chumetz. And eating. Oh, I know it was the advertisement.
And they what?
That was your cousin advertisement. Part of the I don't know why, but advertisement agency works is they have, they eat all day, they nash all day.
Yeah.
And so you could sell it. The question is, can you have chumetz around your property? Let's say your
Like in our
business.
office the same way. We have, in the lunchroom or whatever, the office buys hummus, pretzels, and that type of stuff that people eat.
Right.
So even we're not there on Pesach, but
You have to sell it.
right. So we sell it. Fine.
Now let's say you go into, but you guys are not going to the office, basically.
Correct.
Let's say you will go into the office, or maybe even if you don't go, you have a right to go in. Can I have a goy's chumetz on my property? That's the question. Can I have? Let's say this guy gets what?
Why not?
Oh, so the mechaber, so the have. Gagosh, you don't have a page. Gagosh shenochri. Listen to this halacha. Sheisumach legagosh sheisruel. When it's galgal chumetz megagosh shenochri legagosh sheisruel. The chumetz rolled from one roof to another roof. Imi chalamoid, if it's chalamoid, or erev Pesach, Bishul, shishis, ve'elach. He says, don't touch it. Knock it away out of your house with the stick. You understand what's going on? He goes up to his roof, and somehow the wind blew the guy's chumetz into his property. It's Erev Pesach, it's still a weekday. Just don't touch the chumetz, you're not allowed to touch chumetz. So take a stick and knock the chumetz back into the guy's yeshus. Wait a minute, it's not mine.
It's different than the office because there the guy is not seeing you eating it. He doesn't know where it went.
I mean, the guy there, let's say his father, that's a gewaldige gemasha. Let's say they would go into the office, right? His father sold the chumetz, and the guy might eating the chumetz. But it's mamish the guy's chumetz. It's mamish, let's say better.
Guys are working the child that you had.
Martha, your shik's over there bought pretzels for herself, and she puts it down in the kitchen. So it's my shoes.
You wouldn't take it.
Why would I take the chumetz from the guy next door?
He's not seeing you take it.
Oh, here's the shiksa that doesn't mind if the balabus takes a pretzel. And the business is that way. You buy, the other buys. I'm just saying, so that makes this a problem. You see clearly. This is a problem that every year I tell people, try not to have the chumetz. And, see, I wish I knew who they are. Sometimes we have people who are benetoid. I'm stuck it out. I tell them, do not have chumetz. Finished. There's nothing to talk about. They bring that's true. They could bring their own lunch, and I tell them they should pack it up well and put it away. But bringing loose chumetz that anyone could take is a problem. If they seal it, they put it away, you're not going to take a lunch away. Let's say you have a business, you have a shiksa guy or the guy work on. Yeah, but you wouldn't take the lunch away. But if they put pretzels out, you would nash during the year. They put pressure, you wouldn't nash, you wouldn't think twice. You wouldn't take their lunch. During the year, you see the guy bought a lunch, even though it's a health lunch, but you wouldn't take a nash from there.
The whole is that if Shem Yom in the beginning is because since it's mutter kol shana kulas, I'm used to eating chametz. I would never take treif. So if my guy brings treif, in my mind, it has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, but what happens is pretzels. Hello, but pretzels, a nash.
Pretzels not kosher. We learned this together.
No.
Maybe not.
Many people, we asked the people, the chicks about pretzels, gold pretzels, you wouldn't help yourself? I'm talking about treif. But if you know it's pretzels.
The apple here is speaking about the
Can we just clarify, if we're not coming to the office, B'chlam, we're not gonna be there, we're in another city,
then it seems like it would be less of a problem.
That should be that's a less of a problem.
So you see,
But
in a case where I would be coming to the office,
Right.
and there's a thing of pretzels sitting there that the are eating, that maybe during the year I would also have some.
That's a
So
problem.
you're saying that would be problematic?
That's a problematic. And many offices work that way. Law offices, but people tell me work that way. That the law offices they mamish they supply it. So I tell them you don't.
No, it's the same way in my office.
Yeah. So law. Run in.
You should put in a sign that says don't bring in loose.
Yes, I have people who have been Torah ask me. I have two lawyers who work a lot. They know Pesach. They bring Passover nash. Because three of the lawyers are from.
No, the truth is, my father tried it many years ago, like when our office was much smaller. So he told a few guys, don't bring any food to the office for this week. But once you can't tell 20 people, and you
Yeah,
guys can't have
but
lunch.
see, you're never going to take their private lunch. But you would take pretzels, office snacks. When people put out. I understand, like the law office, there's always snacks in the.
There's vending machines also, in every office. And the vending machine people will buy chips and
Well,
share.
that's a problem. If that's the case, it's a problem.
Only today. You can only bring in today for food.
Yeah, but there's kosher, there's OU, there are plenty of vending things in those vending machines that could be kosher. But I'm just saying, I'm oired, this is a shala. And when people ask me, I always tell them, if you're under office, not once, not twice, and I always try to tell them, make sure there's no chametz. See, if you're the boss, you don't have to be, I don't know why people are so afraid. You're the boss, you say, Pesach, we're going to have a lawyer, my shul, and he works with a bunch of other lawyers. There's a big law. Pesach, they bring in Pesach the Ganache. He supplies it, big deal. What's the big thing?
Is there a difference between mamash chametz and maybe just
Yeah, there is a problem. Even Taruvis Chuvas, you might come to eat it, and that's also. Some of the Terumas Chumetz is this rice, many of the Terumas Chumetz, because when they put in Chumetz, emulsifies, it gives it a taste, it gives it a consistency. That's an issa rice to most places.
Should you close access to vending machines?
Well, I don't know how it works. The vending machine, if the office share.
It's a vending
No, but a vending machine, you'd have to go and actually buy.
No, but it's not but he's saying maybe they share it.
machine. But
So what you have to actively do by Shem Yamalach, like the whole year you're buying, and if there's kosher stuff in there, you might forget. That was the whole reason why you made the Dika.
Right?
No, it's different.
Yeah, but it's in your office, it's in your building. Yeah, but it's in, I'm saying it's right there where you're sitting.
No, the vending machines usually are not owned by the people that own the office.
It's in your reshus. I think there's a difference.
There's a difference. You see that, why am I afraid to, I'm going to the roof, my next door, his chometz flew into my reshus. Because I might just help myself, forget myself.
Because there's no Geneva yet.
There's no, I don't know. That's another question. Why is there no Geneva? The Rav shit is there is Geneva. The Shulchan Aruch shit in the Choshen Mishvit. Just for the record, the Shulchan Aruch holds that if you have a goy's chayfetz, you're not allowed to steal it. Not like the Nesivus. Nesivus holds if a goy left the chayfetz by you, but the Rav is very machmer about that.
Now, according to this, on a Pesach program, where one of the kitchens is kosher and the other kitchen is not.
And don't go there. No, there's not.
Okay, I'm just moided.
Just don't go to the non-kosher.
No.
If I have a question, in my house, I never touch
I can.
any of the food that's not used half out, even if it's kosher, because it's my custom, I don't want to make a mistake. So does it apply to me?
Yeah, once the Chazal said we don't follow in individual habits. Chazal said not to have it. Chazal said don't have. See, the only.
The key is that it's your place. Right.
Yeah,
If you're
your
just another
place.
worker there, it's okay.
Yes, but it's your place. Your place. But that's what I'm saying. You see the goy's chometz flew into your place, and you might help yourself.
So he's not about your own business. Yeah, not your place of work. Yeah.
So if somebody who has many workers, like Danny's is saying, he has to manage to do something.
No,
about that?
that's what I'm explaining. If everyone brings their lunch, and they, like many
No,
people,
there's Nash sitting around.
that's a problem. They put out nash. Sometimes they treat it.
Company, but you own
Yes.
one company.
Yes, that's what this guy told me. He has a huge, he not just these, a few people told me they have few workers, and there's always, that's part of the, like he said, part of there always nash outside. There's always nash. That's
Does it matter if he has properties that are rented?
I'm talking to office. That's it. This is a huge office.
No, if he owns properties that are then rented.
That's not the property. Is not his problem. It's not his.
He rented it, it's not his.
Let's just finish this. He says. אבל לא יטלת ביודו, he says that Rav להחזירו לגגה שנוחי לשיר להכר על דדחיפה סכונה ולהישכח על איסר חומץ יולה אלחמי אח שבשושה מחזיר לגגה שנוחי. The time you should make with a kuna, knock it over with a stick. The time that uslig of chumetz shnocher kol yimei Pesach. Very important. You're not allowed to touch your guy's chumetz. So this is halacha too. Let's say you're working in some place and then you put it into the fridge. You know, have people working and they double wrap the the lunch. But if the guy's chumetz is standing, you're not allowed to touch his chumetz. You can't touch his bag of chumetz. You're not allowed to touch chometz chalamoid. Even though you have no intentions to buy. I just want to move the chometz away. That's what it says over here. Abmit the liga b'chometz shel Yisrael, b'shush shesal levarim in oilam, b'peis abe, b'chalamoid, nuchshem yishkach yichlenu, shar atzim is asiv k'de levarim in oilam, heich yishkach yichlenu. But if you are there to burn it, then it's not a problem. You are.
Does this concept extend also to, let's say, office dishes that, you know, technically are owned by, let's say the owner of the office owns the dishes, but the goyim use them, they're not kosher dishes necessarily, they definitely have chametz that once upon a time.
But that I could have a whole year round, no one touches the dishes because it's treif, then we're not worried about it.
No, I'm saying like, let's say.
Your office, there's dishes?
There's dishes, and let's say people use them for oatmeal, every single morning, people are making oatmeal, 'cause that's one of the foods that's, available to the people that are there in the morning, they make oatmeal, definitely chametz, right? So even if you say, hey, I'm not gonna put out the oatmeal on Pesach, I'm gonna put it away with the pretzels and the licorice and tape it up or something, but does that mean that you have to take away those dishes also?
Would you use those dishes during the year?
No.
Because it's treif.
Yeah.
So then it's not a problem. See, we're only worried about some.
Microwave and a toaster oven's all treif.
So if you never use it all year round, we're not worried you're going to be nichshel Pesach. That's what we're saying. We're only worried about something that you could eat.
Why can't his case apply where he says he never touched the treif?
It doesn't depend on him. It depends on treif. No one. We're not worried about if let's say in the office, his office manager will put out treif candy, treif mamish treif. Not worried about it. No one eats treif. Treif we don't eat. But if he puts out pretzels, I don't know why, that's quite common, I understand from lawyers, from the pretzels, right? You'll also tell you, I don't know why they put out pretzels. Gold pretzel, how's it? You?
So what we do in my office is all the goyim have one refrigerator, and all the Jews have another refrigerator. So you never go into another.
Yeah, but again, if it's pretzels that they put out, you're in trouble. If it's just, everyone takes the food, then it's not a problem. No one's going to take the guy's food, private food. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, because you might come eat it. Yeah, but you're not allowed to touch chumetz. Chazal say, do not touch chumetz, period.
Well, you can't
That's Chazal said. That's a separate say. Do not touch chumetz.
If you want to get your lunch out and there's a guy's chametz, you got to use a stick to kind of move
That's
it to
exactly what it
the side.
says. Okay, that's chumetz. You can't touch it, right?
It's not chametz, it's kidneys.
But pretzels you can't touch. With a broom is like a stick.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is your line of gold.
What's the next sermon he printed? Rabbi, what was the next sermon he printed? Tofnum with Sif again? Okay. I want to take another halacha. This is a very important halacha.
Which one?
Yid Beis, Tufnin Yid Beis. I must tell you, the rabbi was on my case, bothering me all day long to come, and I just randomly in my head picked out things which should be interesting. One of the halachas in Pesach is I'm not sure your neighborhood, but my neighborhood is very much Negeya. One of the problems is that the shiksas do not like chumetz Pesach diga food. True. But so I have many often they would tell they give the shiksa, they give the shiksa a pot, and warm yourself, do something by yourself. But hey, no, it was a one shiksa. Many of the younger people have a full-time maid who lives there, takes care of the children, and so they have the shiksa cooks for herself in her room. They give her a pot. This is her pot, and they give her. Problem what the Rav says over here, let's see. You're not allowed, if it's your pot that you're giving to the shiksa, and imagine the shiksa is going to cook chometz in the pot. And let me explain. There's an interesting halacha. It's called the roitze b'kiyumai. What does that mean? I want the chometz to be there because if the chometz is not going to be there, the pot could get ruined. You take a pot, you put it on the fire. It theoretically could get ruined if it's empty. So Mamela, there's a din in the Gemara that I'm not allowed to. I give a pot, my pot to a goy, and the goy is going to cook in it. She's going to cook her cereal every morning. So I want that cereal to be in the pot because if that cereal is not going to be in the pot, then the pot could get ruined. So that's called roitze b'kiyumoi al yedei dovaracha. That means I want the kiyum of the chometz in this pot because otherwise the pot could crack.
Even a person who can afford a shiksa to stay in the house, they care about the $5.
Well, no, they have to say, give it away to the shiksa. I tell them, just give it, buy them, and you don't care. I don't want it, I don't need it.
So once the pot belongs to them, then
It's not a problem. But it's yours, and truthfully is, I never make a big fuss of it because I'm not convinced our pots will get ruined. It has to be very cheap to get ruined. If you left the pot empty and the fire gets ruined,
We decided that the explosion at the Chabanos was the Rabbi didn't unplug the Shalom pot.
Shalom.
That's what we think happened to it. After 4 days, the pot of the plastic, that's all.
he was from next doesn't take much to run pot.
What'd you say?
It doesn't take much to run pot.
Yeah. All right, if it ruined, that's a halacha.
Even the best of pots.
Yes. By the way, the FBI agent came to the shul, and they were looking for him. So they came for this guy. They found out, I heard just now, someone said. But they came Sunday morning. Sunday morning he came, the FBI agent, and they asked me, I said, you should tell, Motzei Shabbos someone called me, he had a cell phone. Someone called me Motzei Shabbos, that he had a cell phone. And should I call the police? And the FBI says, call the police and the FBI. But maybe he didn't do it. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But if he did, he's extremely dangerous. Yeah, Lamechish, I mean, they didn't, I said to him, they didn't say you put up the bomb, did they? Why did they, why did they say, there's some, the guy's anyway Sidrek, who he is.
Yeah, no, for sure. No,
He doesn't come here, comes to my shul all the time.
We're very lucky.
Doesn't come here?
No one found us yet.
He comes all the time to us. Yeah. Anyways, okay.
But 1 second, it's not a problem this year.
No, he's dangerous. That guy once said, if you know someone molests people, instead of shooting him, give him to the police. Let the police shoot him. Okay. Anyway, so this is one halacha I want to show. This is halacha. This is Yid Beis. I am really running out of time. I really want to say more interesting halachas. I want to explain another important halacha. There's a minig, which Ashkenazim have, we don't eat kidneys. Okay? And the Chassidim don't eat gebrachts. Now, the Rav says an important, interesting halacha. He says, kidneys, what we don't eat, is only that if it'll be the same as chometz, it'll be a problem. Let me explain. Let's say kidneys is beans. So we don't eat beans if it gets into water. How about you just pulled off from the tree peas on the pod? Can I eat the peas? So the Rav says, of course you can eat it. There's no din, you're not allowed to eat kidneys. The meaning is not to eat kidneys when it mixed with water, we have to treat it like it will be wheat. Let's say you got peas of the pod. Let fresh. You can't trust it, but you buy in the store, but you wash it off. Let's say you go to the farm, the peas in the pot. I'm almost sure one year someone asked me this question.
I never understood why you can't eat green beans on Pesach. You know what I mean?
No, you can't eat green beans, but what happens, didn't you get, when children were young, they used to go, there's a farm in Simi Valley, and the children used to love to go picking, strawberries picking. Moore Park. So one year there was string beans, whatever they was saying.
We did a solar family outing there once.
Okay, so they have, what did they pick? There was strawberries and what else?
Strawberries.
And one year there was beans on the pod.
Okay.
And I said, you can eat it. Wow. If you took it off from the tree fresh, you're allowed to eat those peas on the pod. The Rav says the minig was to treat kidneys like it would have been wheat. So if it gets wet, we have a trouble. But if it's not that way, it's not a problem.
If you buy them in the store, you leave them out.
Well, well, we worried that once it got wet, we worried that just like wheat gets wet, we have a problem.
Even though it doesn't absorb.
Even though it doesn't, the wheat also has a hard time absorbing. But that was the gather. Okay. But if you have it raw in a place, it's not about, he says it. If you want, I'll show it you inside. So that's the reason.
Raw green bean is covered in dirt, you could eat. But as soon as you wash it off, you can't eat it anymore.
You pick it. You pick peas on a pod, you open it. I remember as a child, we used to eat peas on the pod. I don't know why they don't sell it in the stores. When we were young children, and I haven't seen it in years, it was fresh.
In the store. It's okay.
So the problem is maybe they washed it and it got soaking. So let me explain about the nafkamina. The same question is with gebrachts. Many hold that even though you have a minig of gebrachts, let me explain. The problem of gebrachts is, what is the problem? We already have a matzah. That in the matzah, maybe it wasn't baked well, and in the matzah there's flour that's going to get wet. Very nice. You know that, but we eat matzahs. We don't make it wet. So if you make gebrachts before Pesach, that little gebrachts becomes bottle, and mamela, it's not a problem. You make a cake with gebrachts, not matzah balls, because we always worry maybe there's still something there that's going to get but let's say you make a cake before Pesach. I eat matzahs. Every time you eat matzahs, I want to tell you a secret. There's a little bit percentage of chametz there. There's no way, says the Rav, that you cut a field that is impossible. You try your best, it is. But then we say lach belach becomes butel before Pesach. You make it into a matzah, and they don't say choyzim v'neir. Many hold. So if you make, 1 second, I'm finished. So if you make, let's say, a cake out of gebrachts, that's not a problem. Right? It is not a problem. So, I'm just explaining, that's what it's based on. If kidneys, which is more common than gebrachts, you don't know, you eat Achon Shepesach gebrachts, right? No one eats kidneys Achon Shepesach. Kidneys is a very common, and the Rav says you're allowed to eat it raw, so gebrachts should be the same way. So you're allowed to eat gebrachts, so you make it erev. I don't know, certain people don't, and I claim the reason they didn't have fridge. Everything had to be done fresh. So you didn't want to make it on Pesach, but theoretically, make it before Pesach, it's like matzahs, it's okay.
So why are you making a distinction between the cake and matzah balls?
Matzah balls, they claim, the Machmirim claim, it's very possible, which doesn't make sense to me, that the matzah ball that you make, maybe now you put it into water, still there was some flour that could still get chometz. It's crushed, you made it into matzah ball. You made it before Pesach.
Matzah ball you already made before Pesach.
Maybe there's some, truthfully is, I don't understand it. I don't understand, but the explanation is that maybe is that inside there's going to be some flour. I explain it differently. My opinion is...
My father was trying to get matzo balls by the
say that.
I'm not having luck.
No one recuperated from last year.
All the bakeries.
One second, let me just finish. I claim the matzah...
But they still don't do that. Correct.
Why? I'll explain to you the reason, but matzah, I think the different reasons differently. The reason why they don't make matzah balls is because matzah ball is people are going to say, made it out of Pesach, can make it Pesach. But cake, when you buy cake, just like you make matzahs, you can buy cake that was done before, and that's not a problem. I just explaining. What do you say?
Your cake that's the broth, you're saying it's made before Yom Kippur, it's fine? I know, hang on a second.
Okay, we went this in depth last year.
This isn't one, so briefly, anything that's your broth that's made before Yom Kippur is fine. Okay.
No, not that it's fine. It's not the broth.
It's not considered your broth.
Correct.
So who decided it is?
I'm asking, I don't know. I grew up eating matzah balls.
Come to your house for Thanksgiving.
Some Seifer, and I grew up in Oberlanders. I teased the people. Some Seifer in the Tzur was makpid to eat gebrachts. I don't know. He didn't want to shit from the Chumrah, but he told his children and grandchildren no one should wear a sheitel. So I have people who claim that einiglich some Seifer. So you're einiglich some Seifer gebrachts, you don't eat, but your wife wears a sheitel.
You covered it here with something. Can I just be clear for the video?
I mean, the Seifer said you have to don't wear a sheitel but cover your hair. So, but the chumrah of gebrachts, which is a chumrah, who knows what people machmer. But she held me ikra din. Some Seifer held me ikra din. Not allowed to wear a sheitel. That. I just want to.
I think Rabbi Yosef holds that way as well. About the women wearing the sheitel.
The Svardim were very, very machmer. No, with generations already. This goes back generations. The Svardim were very, very machmer.
How far back?
How far back? The Bis Yosef times. So the Svardim really have no way out. They screams Kaseder Rabbi Yosef, and the Svardim was very chomer. They never accepted the Ashkenazim. Some accepted the Mugavrom. It's based on the Mugavrom, but some Ashkenazim accepted it. But by the Svardim, this was never accepted.
And the reason is just because of sneers.
It's nice, yeah. Look, let's face it. I tell this joke, tease my wife. You look a lot better in the shaitel than your own hair. Even young wives, right? You for relative youngly married, your wife looks a lot better in her shaitel than her own hair. Who are you kidding? Okay. Someone asked me today, so let me talk about the Seder. Someone asked me today about his in-laws come. I hope no one knows this, so this is okay. His father-in-law comes to the Seder, and his father-in-law his shunu perished. That means he grew up from, and he's not from today, but he's so happy that his children became from. He comes to the Seder and he buys the most expensive yayin that's not mavushal, and he's in charge of the wine. That's his mishigas. And he asked me, what should I do? He came to me special asking me, because he must have heard this. He told me he heard this, people listen in. I had a phone call from Florida. Chabad Shliach told me he listened, he wanted to ask me something. I said to him that he brings the wine. He buys expensive wine, and he's in charge. This is his whole... he says, if I tell this to my father-in-law, this is... I said, I don't know. I said, there's no way out. If he would have Tinik Shenishba, no. But he's not a Tinik Shenishba, and it's not Mavushal. I told him, I don't see a way out.
Why can't you say that during the Seder, like right now on Pesach, he's keeping...
I told him I told him you have to find a way that you say that you go to Zayda, and you sit, you stay put, and we'll take care of the wine. You gotta play it out.
You say something else. Why can't he keep Yom Tov, that moment?
Yeah, he's about
to Shemer Yom Tov this year. That moment.
You and I know that is not.
Because if he would have had a real Chiddush, he would have been off.
The Rav says, clearly not that way, the Rav says. The Rav doesn't say that way. Clearly he doesn't say that way.
If somebody grew up, let's say,
I'm telling you,
think that their education is so good.
he's not a Tinik Shlish, but he grew up from Yerushalayim. Listen, he grew up from, his uncle is a Rav. He grew up from. He came to America in the right after the war, and he became very wealthy, and he went off the derech. He told me, nothing to talk about. My father-in-law grew up from, and his wife grew up not religious, and she, Chabad made it from.
They need to hire a waiter to the Seder, and that's it.
Okay, that's eitzes he needs. But I'm just explaining this to his problem. And why I'm saying this, what I'm saying this, that many people don't realize at the Seder, you might have non-religious relatives. Someone over here asked me, I forgot who it was, asked me, he has you asked me, I have a relative who's not from, someone has a relative who's not from, and she comes to the Shabbos table, she can't pour the wine, finish, if it's not mavushal. That's why I don't allow my house, because we have a shiksa once a week, and I'm afraid, but people buy me always expensive wine, so I make sure that Shabbos I drink up the wine. Yeah, I have a bottle, I drink, but sometimes people do, they do, and your father from time buys me these expensive wines, he once bought me, it's geschmack wine, but I make sure, unless, I got myself a special, someone gave me there's a thing with the lock. Someone gave me some with the lock. Yes, there's a thing with the lock. So according to the Rav, the Alter Rebbe holds that if you don't look at the hair, you can be Samech Lekula. So the Rav holds that way. It's Machlekes the Rishonim, Machlekes the Rosh and the Rashba. I'm saying, he says, don't look, close your eyes, look the other way.
Even your wife's here, you can't look at.
If your wife, yeah, but that's true. Your wife is not wearing stockings. You also can't make a bracha if you see her legs. So the Rav says, not looking. I'm just saying, not looking is okay. Not looking is okay. Just don't look. Anyway, so that's one problem with it. It's very important. People don't realize yain. That's if you have a not religious person at the table, it makes the yain nesach. I want to say another very important halacha. It says very clearly in Shulchan Aruch, the Rav brings it down to Shalma, you're not allowed to get drunk at the Seder. I've heard many stories. I'm just saying you're not allowed to get drunk, and it's and another thing you have to remember what people don't realize, for the woman they have to finish the entire Seder. Very often they get up the middle, they have to say the entire Seder. The woman, they have to bench, and they have to say the finish Hallel till the fourth course. Women are obligated just as men. There's no, if your wife has to go out to nurse or the baby. I made a rule in my house when the babies were young, the Seder stops. I always used to joke with my wife, the weakest person in the family controls the family. That's a mitzvah. The baby is scratching, everything stops. If someone is emotionally not well, you ever notice someone, he runs the household. The weakest person always is that way. The baby cries, we'll wait till the mom pampers the baby, nurses the baby, and we can start to say that afterwards.
Isn't it just the drinking of the place which is...
No, she has to say the God. There has to be a sidron.
She has to say every word.
She has to listen. And if she wasn't there, she has to say it. There's no din saying. One person has to say besides the brachos.
She could come back and just catch up on her own.
Right. But I made a rule that she worked so hard, my wife, for Pesach. She deserves the honor that we all wait for her. That's what we Okay, but many people think, I drank 4 kosses. You have to say Sidron. It has to be first course of that, second course on the Agoda. You have to say that. Third course has to be on benching. The fourth course on Hallel. The woman have to... Grape juice is fine. Yes, grape juice is fine.
Why can't they rely on their husband just like Vadika on the same idea?
Yeah, but they hear from themselves to drink and say the Agoda. That's a mitzvah. It's like mitzvah shebegufay. Bedika is not a mitzvah shebeguf. I can make a shliach. You can't make a shliach and put on film. The mitzvah, the house has to be clean. It's not your body has a mitzvah. The house needs to be clean. I can make you shliach to light candlelight because candlelight is not a mitzvah shebeguf. It's a mitzvah the house to be lit up. Right. Now, Chaim Nua, I think I wrote it down over here. The shit is that Chaim Nua that
Well, what's the reason why you can't get drunk?
because you're not going to, it says in Shulchan Aruch, you're not going to say the Agoda. I've heard people tell me. The what?
Hey, so you could be happy, you just can't be drunk, correct?
According to Chaim Nua, a revius is 3.3, so it's very little wine. It's extremely little. So if you, a Lubavitcher should really not have a problem. 3.3. What? So you need Muraligmov. You need of Kais, Muraligmov. That's, he says, only it's a less than a ketchila. If you look in the words of the Rabbi, you see. But I'm saying that, but it's very little. 3.3 ounces is a joke.
I just read today that there's some that are machmir that that's the Rabbanan 3.3.
Oh, that's according to Chaim Noah. That's according to Lubavitch. Period. That's because they're worried about the Chazon Ish, the non-Chabad.
And those who are machmir, they have a bigger size.
Yeah, but according to Chabad, you have 3.3. It's
So there's something about being the rice size or being the
not according to Chabad.
So it's
Not according to Chabad.
it's not Rosh Kais, what do you say? What is
It's better Rav Kais. Better.
So the 3.3, that's the cost that you need right though?
Yes. Yes.
So you really need 2.5 and a half.
Yes.
Oh, 2.3.
So he gets very little. The Kais is very little according to Chaim Noah.
1.65.
So it's not, I'm just explaining why very often people, I get these phone calls all the time. I can't tolerate grape juice. I can't tolerate, you don't have to get a big case. You don't need a big case. So I have a saying that since I'm young, three things grow. The cases grow. When I was young, the cases are very small. The cases grow. The sheitlich keep on growing. And somehow, and the stramlich keep on growing. But the cases, I remember as a child, was very small. As someone bought me a gift not long ago, it is 8 ounces that the case holds. Yeah, it's a beautiful cuss. I make Kiddush every Shabbos on it, but I don't use it for the Seder. Because Kiddush, you don't need to, it's a beautiful, beautiful case. I'm just saying that you don't, you guys sell cases? It's good to know. And you have small cases? It's good to know. I send people there. A lady called me today, she can't, I thought, get them in a machine. The people who can't tolerate the grape juice for some reason. You don't need so much. It's not the... And a matzah, the size of a matzah, is again, if you use a third of a matzah, if you can't...
Depends who makes the matzah. It's the weight.
Yeah, it's hard, but the average matzah is about a third of a matzah you eat. But if a person's not well, then you should check it out.
Matzahs are very, very thin.
Yeah, those are a little more.
You have to know if it's an ounce.
Right, you have to know, but it,
Count the matzah.
yeah, yeah.
Which means when you make a motzi, the Seder night,
You have
to eat a third of a matzah?
You could, you should eat. Well, it depends what matzahs you have. You use the Lubavitcher matzahs. They're not very thin. Those you should. They're not thin at all. So those matzahs you should eat. To be able almost a half a matzah. 2/3, about a half a matzah you should eat. Oh.
Is there any not to speak while you're eating it?
Yes. There's an Indian not to speak while you're eating. Says Shulchan Aruch. I want to quickly say another thing before I forget. I just dotted a bunch of notes. I was not prepared for this year. It's the nudging of the rabbi that brought me here. And one of the questions people ask me is about paper plates. Okay, so there's a rumor that some of the plates, which is Dixie, it's called, some of the plates that has a coating has a problem of cornstarch. So if you look, did you copy to Samach Dalet? I want to show you something very interesting. Yeah. I want to show you something extremely interesting. That, you hear about that, kidneys becomes butel b'roiv. If kidneys fell into something butel b'roiv, the Pri Chodosh held that you're allowed to. On Pesach. The Pri Chodesh held that you're allowed to eat ma'arev the ketchila and roiv. We don't pass in that way. So listen to the Rav. Well, I explained it last year in another sheet why it's not a problem with the plates. Let's learn this, Rav. Base. Ikvar nizbar b'simetuf nin gimel. Hameni b'bdin Israeli shlelech klar chardel b'Pesach. We don't eat chardel. Chardel is mustard seeds, matam. Matam, where are we up to? Shenizbar sham. Afile im koidem ha-Pesach, kotshoy, v'tochnoi, v'irvi yayin. Before Pesach, he crushed it and they used to put this into wine. After it became ain't ochnoise b'Pesach. Why? The kivi shechardel hi-ikar, v'hi-nikar is the main, and you could recognize it. V'ner ein zanikar tarivus. That's not called tarivus. Shematir noise, afile b'toch Pesach, kishbar sham. It's, you could tell, everyone knows this is a wine that has chardel, has this mustard seeds. The oid sheikile betruva shenasem elov. Only if when did we make that teruva? It happened by itself. Avalam arev beyidayim kedei leechol hatariva is bepesach ematirin lo elchila. If you're ma'arba to eat it.
Not like a broth, like kidneys.
Yeah, but kidneys. So I'm saying on the paper plates. On the paper plates, no one, if there's, I want a geschmack of cornstarch over here, you know what I mean? You're not mad of there to eat it. So that's why, and then I spoke to the OU, and the OU says that even though all the lists have it, but they, lately, the last few years, they don't do it anymore. Corn went up in price. They use different stuff already. It's not such a problem, he says, claim anyway. So.
OU anyhow, they said that it's motor.
No, he said to me, the one who runs it, tells me that the problem is this, the last 2 years, not a problem because cornstarch became too expensive for some reason. I don't know. They use something cheaper. They just to tell you what it is. They're not going to paskin. They never get involved in psak and these things.
I think Rabbi Nathan said something how it's funny because he says we're the ones that certify it, and we're the ones that say it's okay. And suddenly come Pesach, all these other people are coming, and he's like, they were never at the plant. They don't know what's going on, but they're saying it's not okay. You know. You rely on our actions all year.
What about the glue on the paper towels?
That's ridiculous. Just ridiculous. It's a ridiculous chumrah. Yeah, that's just.
But it's the material, it's not cornstarch, it would be mamash.
No, it's nothing.
Okay.
Well, that's right down
That's
here.
not hummus because it's no longer
Oh, I wrote down another thing. If you have a maid, I don't know, you guys have a shiksa? So, but I splurged this year and I told my wife because the grandchildren are coming and so many grandchildren. So I said, I tell my wife all the time, when the maid comes, she has to make sure she washes her hands and not wear jewelry. I make my wife kasha the jewelry. Some women never wash dishes with the rings on. You know, certain women. I have 8 daughters, and I notice some do, some don't. It's no raya. I used to think there was a rule. There's a certain woman never take off the jewelry. So if you wash chumash digger dishes all year round, you better kasha those rings. But the shiksa just came from our chumash digger home. I make her tell me she has to go into the thing, wash her hands well, not wear the jewelry, and put on a shirtzel. I say shirtzel in English? An apron. To put on an apron, a full apron, because she just came from a chumash digger place. You know, I mean, it's
So, on again, a Pesach program where you have servers,
Don't go, stay here, come on, so.
they wash the aprons, why not? They wash the maybe the.
I want to tell you something. I find out after Pesach the problems in these programs. Lately, they've been calling me before Pesach already. I got twice already phone calls from this week from one a huge program, and you know it's so hard to so hard to be. It's like a joke. It's really a joke because you don't want to pace yourself. There's more shalos in the program. It's getting better because they're getting a handle on it. But there's always a goyim. A mashgiach explained to me. It's very simple. During the year, when you give Ashgocha, we train them and train them and train them. Do not bring food from home. They have a hard time. Eat whatever said. Don't bring food from home. But still we have a hard time. We get bunch of new goyim who are going to work for 8 days. They have to hire new goyim off the street who are going to work 8 days there. And they don't like the food. It's a fact. People tell me the shiksas don't like the food. All year round, the shiksas don't mind eating the food at home. But I heard this from a lot of people. The shiksas don't like the food. The same problem that we told me the hotels are, and they bring in food. It's a mitzvah. You know, I mean, it's very hard to control them. So, I know Pesach, that's why I say the chumras, what we have, caused the backlash. You know what I mean? The people would never cholim to go eat, in the program because it's so problematic, Any other question? I have so many, I have to answer the phones over here. Any question about Pesach?
Not the hotel.
Are you going to a hotel? No.
No, I just
Okay.
grew up on that, so I don't know how bad it was. They have all the fresh aprons, right? Like they're washing the washing machine, whatever. So the only issue is if someone has jewelry, if you're like a good Mashiach, you tell them to take off the jewelry.
Problem is, yes, it's the other problem. I'm going to tell you what happened one year. One year, I got a phone call, Chalamoy. There was a huge fight between a young Mashgiach and an old Mashgiach. What happened was, the first night Seder, they noticed there was not enough spoons. The next morning, they noticed there's a lot of spoons. Oh, listen what happened. There's a lot of spoons. So the Mashgiach, what happened there? The guy says, I saw no spoons. I went to the kitchen. I brought in the spoons. So, this was a 900 people program. Nothing to sneeze about. So, he made sure now what did they do? So one guy, anyway, so they went and they bought on Pesach. They went out and they bought and expensive, they got someone to buy expensive papers, plastic, not cheap plastic because they're always going to look terrible. But the question is, what should have they done? Right? I told them they could have kashed on Yom Tov. Because I spoke about it here once, you can make a libin kal. You can't kasher on Yom Tov because you can't make a libin chomer. That means you can't put it into water because it's a mashu. But the libin kal, you could make a Yom Tov. So you put libin kal means you put all the silver in the oven till it becomes boiling hot. If you put a piece of newspaper, it would ignite. And you could do Yom, not you, a goy. You're not allowed to kasher on Yom Tov because it's called tikkun muna. But if a goy does it, it's much better than you gone to the bought. It was a terrible.
So you can't make a goy cannot make a gola for you on your.
No, you can't kasher. Period.
But only libin kal.
Libin kal, because even a yid cannot kasher cholamoid. A libin kal you could do.
The goy can do it, or you can't?
On Yom Tov, a yid is not allowed to do it because it's tikkun muna. What?
Why not during full moon?
Because Hagola, really, there's a question: how does Hagola help? Because it comes back. So before Yom Tov, it's called a not b'teta. Let me quickly explain. When you kasher before Yom Tov, the chumetz is called heter. So the chumetz comes out of the thing, goes into the water, and it goes back in. So it's called a not b'teta, but even though it goes back into the spoon. On Pesach, it's called iser. So even though it comes out, it goes back in. It's called a not b'teta, so you can't kasher on Yom Tov.
How do you cash your face? Goes into the water.
Goes to the words, only any b'yom kekasha becomes an adbanat, yes.
What about doing laundry at Chalamoid?
You're not allowed to do laundry chalamoid.
For baby?
Only for baby.
Kids, yes.
Only for young kids and only for young ones and
Throwing your own clothing with
no, you can't. You can't throw your own clothing. Rather go by.
How young?
How what?
How young?
How young? A child that you have to change every day.
Like if they get
Not because your wife doesn't like it, because she comes in, not because your wife is particular, because he comes in,
non-Jew wash laundry for you.
they're not allowed to have a goy wash laundry for you.
Send it to clean your shirt.
No, you're not allowed to do that. There's no way out.
What's the reason behind it? Well, if you gave it to them and said, wash my clothes at your leisure.
No, you're not. Well, yeah, but she knows you need it, then you're not allowed to.
you have to prevent it.
Okay, I must go.
A kosher
The kosher of Pesach.